Once again, our guy, good friend of the show, maybe our best friend of the show when it comes to team executives here in Denver, Nuggets team president of basketball operations, Tim Connelly, joins us. Tim, appreciate your time, first of all, and really appreciate you joining us here once again. Let me just start off with a broad question here. What has the last month been like for you personally?
First of all, I'm blushing right now that we're BFFs.
That's it, man.
You're awesome. Our guy, Tim.
I love that. It's unprecedented, and certainly the impact on the sports world has been obvious and concrete, but societally, just trying to figure out the best way we can all get through this and how we can all be good teammates. A lot of vulnerable people right now. And how we can just help. It's something that none of us ever been through before, and I want to be as proactive as possible to ensure there's as little sickness and death as possible.
Tim, thanks again for joining us, buddy. How often, is y'all as an organization staying in contact with the players? Is it daily? Is it every couple of days? What's that process like?
Yeah, I would say every couple of days we talk to everybody, but you talk to all these group messages, emails, texts. Then you try to reach out individually to make sure you're not missing anything. As hard as it is physically, obviously Brendan, he played at a high level. To not have a facility go to it all is challenging. To not be coached, to not get in the gym and just shoot hoops is hard. And then there's the social isolation. Some of our guys have families, some are just here by themselves. So how do you keep those guys as positive and forward-thinking as possible? Sometimes it's a basketball message, most times it's not. Sometimes it's a movie, sometimes it's a stupid meme that we're all sharing. But anything to stay connected and let these guys know that there's a whole team of people that care about them and want to ensure that they're doing as good as they possibly can.
Tim Connelly hanging out with us here on Stokely and Zach. How are these guys supposed to maintain their basketball sharpness? I mean, I know to a certain degree it's like riding a bike, but you play at that high of a level. These guys don't have the same resources that they had at their fingertips just a month ago. Tim, even around the city of Denver, I don't know if you've seen this. Like, I went to go shoot by myself at a park. They've removed the rims right from the backboards, literally.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. They had police tape around, it's a park off Spear, around the playground and basketball rim. I said, that's tough to see. It's challenging, and they're not going to be in basketball shape. But our strength and conditioning staff does a great job of getting them equipment, of having video classes, of sending them different ideas. I just literally, as we're speaking now, a player texted me his workout for today that I could maybe get through 4 of them right now. So it's unfair to expect these guys to be ready to play. It's the same problem 20 other teams are facing. And while we never want to lose sight of how important the competition is and how important our team is, and we really think we have a chance to make real noise when and if we return this season, it's all about keeping these guys as healthy, both in mind and body, as possible.
Has there been any kind of communication from the league, Tim? And we're visiting with Nuggets team president Tim Connelly. Has there been any communication from them that when you do get back going, will there be a little bit of I don't want to say training camp, but a little bit of a couple weeks to get everybody back going, and then the regular season will start up again? Or what has that communication been like?
The league's been fantastic. They've been so proactive. Really not being afraid to step out there and do what's best for the league. But I think they're at the mercy, like all of us, of what our federal, state, and local government's going to tell us. I'm sure they're working on numerous contingency plans, but right now their messaging has just been consistent. Let's just do whatever we can to make sure we're helping stop the spread and being a good communal teammate.
Obviously, Tim, I won't hold you to this, but do you, at the end of the day, think that we'll have NBA basketball to finish this season in some way, shape, or form?
I sure hope so, but I think, I just want to see some small return to normalcy. Some of these numbers are so staggering and some of the people that have been impacted both from a health perspective and financially. I mean, the poor people in the service industry, you have a good bar or restaurant, and overnight you got to shut down. Some of these people that are keeping the economy going, obviously the first responders and doctors and nurses and the people that clean and operate hospitals. That's where my concern is. As a fan, I sure hope their sports are back, because if they're back, that's reflective of a society that's getting back on its feet as well.
Tim, looking at on the court, kind of a pre-All-Star break and post-All-Star break, didn't quite look like the same basketball team. Struggles a little bit here as of recent. What do you think's been the difference between, coming back from the All-Star break?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, we certainly weren't playing the brand of basketball that we had come accustomed to. We were, since the All-Star break, we were playing like a 500 team. That's not going to get it done. Over 82 games, good teams, great teams, in between teams. They hit stretches where they play really well and hit stretches where they don't perform the same level. We were concerned. We weren't overly concerned. I think Coach Malone and staff do a great job at quickly addressing things. I think we do the areas that were leading to those struggles, and we felt as if we're a pretty resilient group that we can address those things and move on. But the way we were playing prior to this suspension of the season certainly is not good enough, or not up to par to the team we think we can be, and we've shown we're capable of being over the last several years.
Tim Connelly, president of basketball operations for the Denver Nuggets, dropping by here on Stokely and Zach. Do you think, Tim, that regardless of how this thing finishes, that this season, I think back to, I believe it was the 1999 season. It was the first year after Jordan retired, after that third championship, and there was a lockout. It was a shortened season. I want to say the regular season was 50 games. The Spurs went on to beat, I believe it was the New York Knicks in the finals. But that season was looked at as sort of like with an asterisk to it. No disrespect to the future champion of this year, whoever that turns out to be. Do you believe that in time we'll look back at this very unique stretch of time and have an asterisk next to this NBA season?
Shoot, if we win, there'll be no asterisk.
You're darn right. No asterisk, baby.
There'll be a heck of a hangover, but no asterisk. No, it's a good question. I don't know. I can't predict the future, and obviously nor can the NBA league office, but what's it look like when we return to play? There's so many unknowns, and I don't envy our leaders right now, because they're as many experts as we always have. Nobody really predicted the level of what we're seeing presently. So I'm not sure. Good question. I think a lot of it depends on how similar it looks when we get back out there. But I'm just, again, I think any sports, I mean, not having Rockies opening day, I'm an Orioles fan, not watching their first series. I think, we all could use a little distraction. And I think when those distractions in the forms of sports are back out there, I think it's the best part is that's a sign that we're starting to get our footing a little bit and maybe turn the tide on this awful virus.
Yeah, I know that, people were glad that the NFL was continuing with free agency, and obviously that's a lot different than playing games. And whenever you can get back on the basketball court, when you get back on the baseball field and start doing those things, that means we're heading in the right direction, and everybody's can't wait for that and anticipating that. Tim, talk about Michael Porter Jr., what you've seen from him this year.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Mike. He's been through so much. Essentially played 2 games of basketball in 2 years. In those 2 games, his back was barely functioning. I thought he had that ankle injury, a month and a half ago, wherever it was. He was playing a very high level of basketball, contributing to a good team. He's had a hard time regaining some of that rhythm, not unexpectedly. When you leave, you're playing well, you get hurt, you try to jump back into a team that's fighting for home court in the Western Conference. It's not always easy. I think you see a guy who's supremely talented, see a guy that has had very limited basketball the last couple of years. I think you see a guy that surprises people with his size, his ability to rebound, his basketball acumen. And all in all, we're really proud of how far he's come, and we're confident he's going to be one of our real building blocks going forward.
Tim, I have a opinion question for you, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this thing. But obviously, one of the ideas that was supposed to be the norm that we actually never got to because the league got suspended so quickly is playing in an empty arena. I've seen two different mindsets about this. One that, hey, if we can't play in front of our fans, then we shouldn't be playing the games. The other side is, of course, hey, we need to play the games. Let's crown a champion, and the people need it as well, even if they can't be there. Would you be open to playing empty arena games?
Sure. I think when you're in unprecedented times and uncharted waters, which we certainly are right now, anything has to be on the table. Is it ideal? And absolutely not. I'm a fan first and a guy who works in the front office second. Some of my best moments in life has been as a fan. But if putting fans in the arena could potentially become a harmful situation, then let's not do it for the time being. Let's listen to scientists and doctors who make these recommendations. I don't know how you guys feel. I always tell myself, I'm a big sports guy, obviously working it, but I said, as much as I love sports, I'm not obsessive. It's not going to define my happiness, and I hope it never does. But man, I miss sports.
Yeah.
I miss all types of sports, whether it's obviously NBA, but the Rockies, the Orioles, turning on an Arsenal game. It's crazy. NCAA tournament is my favorite event in the world.
Sure, same.
So,
yep.
So if you told me that the Orioles are going to play the Rockies with no fans, but I could watch from my sofa, that's game on. At least it gives us a bit of a distraction. It's not ideal. It's going to take away a lot of what makes these games special. And I think as the athletes, and Brandon, you could probably certainly have the best commentary on it. I think it'd be really weird.
Sure.
But when these guys, I've seen tons and tons of pickup basketball, I've seen tons of inter-squad scrimmages. Once the competitive juices kick in, these guys get after it.
But Tim,
it'll be fun to watch.
And I'll say this, Tim, as an Orioles fan, you guys are used to empty arena games, no?
That's true. When I grew up, we were pretty good, but they're not exactly packing the house right now.
Tim, would it take away a little bit of the home field advantage if no fans were, being able to attend games?
Absolutely. The referees in sport are human, and they're often criticized, and sometimes for good reason. But the job's impossible because unless they bat 1,000, you're only pointing out when they got it wrong. And I would think the best refs in the world are impacted by the emotions of a home arena.
Sure.
I think you get the home whistle. That's in any sport. You get more strikes called at home. You get it's. So you take away that, you take away the ability for teams to feed off the fans. I think for sure. I think it would be really hard for the players, but once they start talking, once the competitive juices, which all these guys have, kicks in, then these guys grew up playing pickup basketball and playing against buddies. But it would not be ideal, and hopefully if it is the norm in the short term, it's something that we only see in the very short term.
Yeah.
This is KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. We're joined by Tim Connelly, President of Basketball Operations for the Nuggets. Just one or two questions left for me. You just talked about, you're saying like, hey, I'm a sports fan first. I miss sports. So how excited were you when the news broke last night from the New York Post that ABC and ESPN is releasing the 10-part documentary season on that final ride for the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan?
I can't wait. I love documentaries on any topic. To me, Jordan's the best athlete of all time. Best player. You have a spirited debate, but a guy that has had the most impact and been most iconic of all other athletes. I was lucky. I worked for him. I worked around him when he played. So certainly wasn't prime MJ, but still being around that level of greatness when I was in DC. Got to know him very well. So I'm a basketball nerd, so I can't wait to watch it as is. And then it's even a little bit sweeter getting to know the guy a bit, so I can't wait.
Last one, and we're visiting with Nuggets President Tim Connelly. Tim, so if you're going to try to get this thing and finish off strong whenever we start back up, what are you going to have to look at? What is going to have to happen for the Denver Nuggets? Is it Jokic, being more assertive? Is it, what will have to happen if you want to finish this thing out strong and win a championship?
Look, I think we've shown during spurts that we can play at that level. I think our success against teams above us in the standings speak to a team that can, when they're playing the right way, they can beat anybody. I think we have the best coach staff in the NBA. So, look, it's all matchups, right? When you get to the playoffs, we need to get hot. We need to make shots. We need to defend at a high level. All things that are obvious answers. But I think our team, really, when the ball's flying around, I think it impacts everything. We've become a more active and connected defensive team. We saw what Nicole did in the playoffs last year. We saw what Jamal did in the playoffs last year. I think we have several guys playing at a high level, but a lot of it is, are you playing your best basketball at the right time? I think there's a lot of teams that can win it. Can they harness that level of play when and if we get back out there? So it should be fun. I'm just fingers crossed that we'll get to answer those questions.
And the very last one for me, Tim Connelly joining us. How have you personally been staying busy? Now, I know you're probably watching a ton of basketball on Synergy. And Synergy, for those who don't know, it's like a basketball, database and comprehensive everything. But are you binge watching Tiger King? Like, what have you been getting into?
I watched Tiger King the night it came out, saw it all in 26 hours. I've been trying to wipe my phone clean from all the memes that Brandon's sending me. I don't want HR finding those at all. Thankfully, HR doesn't have access to my phone right now. I've got 2 young kids. It's been fun being with them 24/7. I can't tell you the last time, probably since I got in the NBA, 23, 24 years ago, where I went more than 10 days without traveling. So that's been unique and that's been fun. Reading a lot. Just trying to stay as informed as possible about what's going on with the virus, the impact it has globally, the economic carnage. We're lucky. We're healthy. We've got, family here. We're very fortunate. And also, again, not to sound corny or cliche, it's trying to be a good communal teammate.
Sure.
If you know anybody that's by themselves, reach out to them. If you have anybody that might have some immunity issues, hey, can I get you groceries? Drop off a pizza, drop off a case of beer. There's a lot of people out there that don't have the same things that we have with family and friends, and as much as you can, help out.
Well, very well said and understood, or it should be anyway. Tim Connelly, the one and the only president of basketball operations, really good friend of the show. Appreciate you stopping by and spending some time with us here on a Tuesday.
I got nothing but time, guys. If you need a commentator about anything, I'm not an expert on anything, but please give me a call. It's good to talk to adults.
Great stuff, man.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, see ya. There he goes, Tim Connelly, Nuggets team president.